In the TED Talk, How Intellectual Property Powers Economic Growth by David P. Miranda, we learn that all of our economy is stimulated through our intellectual property rather than our physical property. He begins by stating, intellectual property is the fuel that can power a region's economic growth, our region's ability to harness, develop, protect, and commercialize its collective and collaborative innovation and imagination can fuel the growth of our region's needs. He said, our region originally started and rose to prominence due to the access of waterways as a transportation hub, which is true. That's how everything began settling, because it was easy access to everything, and it was a food and water source due to the farmways. And later it grew because of its access to its railways. Later we started creating railways, and then they were easy access to get to, and they allowed us to go out farther west. The original benefit of the waterways gave us the ability to rise to prominence again when our nation switched from a farming economy to an industrial economy. This means the access to waterways allowed us to become a center for industrialization, because it allowed us to move, and then we also learned how to create hydropower from the rivers, from flowing water. He says, our nation is now shifting from an industrial economy to one that is increasingly relying on knowledge and information. I believe this is true. Around our time right now, they're pushing further education for us more and more and more. Corporate valuation is shifting from relying on physical property to now relying on intellectual property. They don't want more land, they don't want more buildings, they want people that can harness their hard skill and imagination in order to help the business innovate and exceed against its competition. We grow from the wealth of resources and from our educational institutes. Some educational institutes would be our high schools, colleges, technical schools, training camps, just about anything where you can learn. Intellectual property is one measure of a region's entrepreneurship and economic growth. Intellectual property, although mostly more valuable than physical property in most circumstances, it's much more difficult to protect against theft and misuse, actually. In order to protect our intellectual property, we can apply for patents through the U.S. patent system. A patent gives us the protection of our intellectual property for 20 years, but we must disclose our information to the public on how it has happened. That way we can continue to innovate off of our system and let our region improve. Other ways to protect our intellectual property would be copyright and trademarks. He even says that some cookie recipes are even protected by the copyright and trademark because people believe it is the best thing. Educational institutes produce workers that can become great entrepreneurs and help the business innovate. And even if they don't want to be entrepreneurs, they create and train highly skilled employees to help businesses continue to improve in the world and exceed and help innovate for our region. He says that the CEO of Hewlett-Packard, or HP Computers, says that they don't want to go where, or they can keep their tax benefits, they can keep their tax breaks, all that stuff. Companies want to go where the intellectual property and creativity is at. This TED Talk affects me because obviously we're all in college right now, so we're continuing to innovate and form our creativity through our college. That way, when we get into the business world, we can either create our own business and be an entrepreneur and create new things that will help our region, or we can be top level and highly skilled employees that become a vital part and important role in our businesses around. Thank you.